Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I welcome all of you back to another Rage video. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, time for another beautiful national anthem. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we venture to the nation of Greece with possibly one of the best flags, actually. I don't know why I like this flag this much. It's just white and blue, but the layout and the design of it is fantastic. It's amazing with just what little you can work with, but you can produce something as striking is the word I want to use. Also, curiously enough, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually have an uncle who was from Greece, and he married my auntie, my dad's older sister. It was actually her birthday today, of all things, and I think she's like 60, either 65 or 66, I think. Don't quote me on that. And I think it's like part of Greek tradition. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is that when you marry a Greek man or a Greek woman, it's usually the tradition, even if it's you marry someone from a different nation, that their children have to be named with Greek names, which that's why I have, like, my older cousins are like called April, Holly, and Evie Marie. And what's even more curious about this is that, well, that being said, I haven't seen my Uncle Stavros in roughly 21 years. Also, he got divorced from my auntie about like 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't think and to be honest, 21 years ago, when I was only 4 years old, when I last saw my Uncle Stavros, and I don't even think, to be honest, him or my auntie saw each other ever since then. They might have wrote letters or I don't know, probably something like that, because my Uncle Stavros worked, I think he was like in a very high position for like a Greek shipping company, I believe. And no, before you ask, no, my uncle was not some descendant or son of, Adnan Khashoggi, for example. But again, I'll subsidize the talks about my family just for 1 second. But aside from that, I've been to Greece, I think, twice in my life, to a place called Zante and to the Isle of Crete. First of all, and I will say this absolutely, the food there is fantastic. I love Greek cuisine, and I think probably the biggest reason why I like it, probably more than I even care to admit, is because there's something delectable about it. Sometimes it comes and it's like pistachio or like one of those almost like samosas that's just filled with like feta cheese or some kind of like spinach or whatever. And it might not look terribly exciting, but you bite into it and it opens the floodgates. It is gorgeous, ladies and gentlemen. The food in Greece is gorgeous. The agriculture is phenomenal as well, attributing to the restoration and the protection, probably for the countryside and from the days of the splendid gods, who, when they first discovered what an atom was, they decided it was so small that it was like so insignificant, and the likes of Aristotle and probably just to pack it in. I don't technically remember if Aristotle was Greek or Roman, but oh god, it's getting this late into the night in discussions about Greek mythology and stuff like that, because I could discourse for a very long time about Greek mythology, about how Saturn saw to it to eat his children. No, it was it? Okay, hang on. Let me think about this. Was it Saturn? I know it was Saturn's in Roman mythology, they have like Zeus because the problem is that in Greek mythology, he's sometimes referred to as Saturn, other times referred to as Zeus. And his father was a Titan who was prophesied, that one of Kronos' children would devour the world. And so or something like that anyway. And then you get all the stories about Pandora's box and the destruction of the world. If you really do want to get into discussions about like Greek mythology, ladies and gentlemen, it's one I openly want to encourage more for this channel, especially because I did, and this was a very long time ago, back when I was only about like 8 or 9, I actually did read and reread for a very long time a book on Greek mythology. And one story in particular was about Perseus and his wife trapped in the underworld. One about a boy who was dead if a candle was blown out. Another story about Thor and retrieving his hammer under the impression of the trickster god Loki, resulting in Loki's mouth being sewn together and then tied to a tree and just left. And finally, one called Death and the Boy, in which Death is sort of represented as this giant with dog skulls round his neck, and the giant deceases, and the boy pulls some kind of like reviving potion on top of the giant, and is just this giant eye in a puddle, and they say that the eye blinks for you, is how the story ends. But getting back on track, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys will check out the original video for yourselves, links were all in the description down below. And maybe part of the reason I'm going this ahead in time is because it's not particularly a very long anthem, but who knows, ladies and gentlemen, there might be plenty to unpack anyway. So if there was anything I kind of also wanted to establish, really, maybe it's about remarking upon the legends and the theologists, and probably how they could describe Greece as a very enlightened and a very sophisticated culture. Maybe that's what the span is here. So let's check it out. Hymn to Liberty. Hymn to Liberty. And it's not even why is this? I don't remember how on earth it could be this low, but here we go. Sorry about that. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Greek national anthem, the Hymn to Liberty. It did feel like a hymn, ladies and gentlemen, and it certainly did feel a very libertarious sort of tune. It was wonderfully rich. It was I love the use of valor as well, because they really talk up the idea of liberty, freedom. You know, the idea, they talk it up as something akin to a religion, which in many ways it kind of almost is. It's the religion of freedom, the freedom to express what you want to express, discover what you choose to discover. I mean, we go back and think to all those famous philosophers and of history, and so much of Western civilization that we all owe our great gratefulness to, from Thales or Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, among literally thousands of. I mean, where on earth do we even go? I mean, we could literally sit here for hours and talk about things like, Nemesis, Descatarius, Libanes, Locke, Berserker, Hume, and Kant, and even go into our own little raptures about Homer's Odyssey. In fact, to be honest, Homer's Odyssey is kind of a book I've really wanted to get for a while anyway, so that might be something I want to add to my collection anyway, which it's been a while since I've last added to my book collection anyway, and my library, if you will, and maybe some Greek philosophy and law and stuff like that might be really, really cool. I would not disagree with that. Absolutely no way. And there's just this to be said that I absolutely want to sort of emphasize just before we leave. I'm very, very happy about all this, and it's sort of like a little gateway, a little bit of a floodgate, so that we can open this channel up to many different exciting cultures, and just to see exactly what really they are like. Not to mention the will to learn, ladies and gentlemen. There's so many like Aristotle and Plato and Socrates and Pythagoras. Like, I know Fibonacci is technically Turkish or Indian, I believe, but even so, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much about the world to discover and to learn and to love. And if we could do that in any sort of capacity or at speed or through the medium of music, I fancy we should. I think that'd be a brilliant idea. And it might have even been a teaching out of Aristotle or out of a Nietzsche, or possibly somewhere out of... No, I don't think I have actually anything by Aristotle. I have things like Freud and Nietzsche and like John Milton and stuff like that up here. But I don't really have like anything in the way of like Greek philosophy and stuff like that, unfortunately. But I wonder if that might have been a part of like Aristotle's teachings, ladies and gentlemen, is that if we're going to learn to live on this planet at all, we should learn to get along with each other, not fight each other. Mind you, it would have made God of War an extremely boring game franchise now, wouldn't it? Oh, don't say it wouldn't. It just would. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to Hymn to Liberty, Greece's national anthem. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys felt of Hymn to Liberty for yourselves. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.